day and night, together we shine, bring the light. Through stormy weather, through the pain, with open hearts, we'll break the chains. It's you and me, we'll stand so tall in the rainbow's embrace, we'll never fall. Hand in hand, we'll share the dreams, a tapestry of love woven at the seams. With every hue our voice is strong, together is one, where we all belong. It's you and me, we'll rise above, in the rainbow's embrace, we spread our love. In every corner of the earth we sing, a symphony of hope that unity brings. With every color, let our love soar, together as one, forevermore.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to the Universal Rainbow Faith Church. My name is Paula Sadler, and I am the founding minister and president here at URF in Las Vegas, Nevada. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We did reschedule our service from yesterday, June 22nd, to today, June 23rd, 2025. And I am so excited to be here with you tonight. We are coming to you live on Facebook, on TikTok, and on YouTube. So welcome, welcome, and welcome. Our theme of the month is Sacred Celebration and Resilient Joy. And our saint of the month that we have been celebrating all month is Saint Lucy Hicks Anderson. And this is the golden flame of integrity. That is the lesson and the spiritual message that she brings to us. Our focus this week is Radiance in Resistance and the joy of living free. We have a new series beginning, and that is the prayer, the prophecy, and the power. It's a new 3-week exploration of spiritual warfare and miraculous intercession. Next week, we will dive into wholeness in the fire and becoming ourselves fully. I hope you enjoyed our pre-service music. That was our original worship song, Embrace Togetherness, which you can find online on YouTube under our sacred music collection. And please check all of those out. So, welcome to the Universal Rainbow Faith Church. Today, we celebrate freedom in all of its forms, freedom of spirit, identity, truth, and joy. So let the spirit of resilience and remembrance fill our hearts as we honor Juneteenth this past week and begin our new journey of sacred celebration. Our mission statement here at Universal Rainbow Faith, we are a sacred spiritual home where LGBTQIA+ people and allies are fully affirmed, celebrated, and protected. We believe that gender, love, and identity are divine expressions of the Creator. And our mission is to uplift, heal, and empower individuals through spiritual truth, radical inclusion, and sacred community. So let's just take a moment to do a little centering breath work and make yourself comfortable. And we're going to breathe in joy and breathe out doubt. We're going to breathe in freedom and we're going to breathe out fear. So take a deep breath in and breathe in joy and breathe out doubt. Let us breathe in freedom and let's breathe out fear. Just let that sit and start us off today. So we have our announcements. This week's highlight, as we said, is our new 3-week series. You can check that out at universalrainbowfaith.org. And we have new blog posts that are on universalrainbowfaith.org. Scroll down to the very bottom of the homepage. And our latest post is A Century Backward, the Supreme Court's decision and the assault on transgender lives. The next one is We Were Trans Kids Once Too, a message of truth, pain, and unyielding hope. So check all of those out on our blog post. Many wonderful op-eds and also great stories being shared there. And feel free to like them. You can click on the heart to like on our website, and also feel free to make comments on there too and share your thoughts. This week's quote: as you trust in the divine, it deepens. So does your awareness of the miracles already present. And that is from The Nature of Miracles, available on Amazon from page 50. And we are still updating our site for donations through Tithely, which will be available soon. Right now, there is a donation tab on the home screen. Some of our links to donations are still not working as we're continuing to update those. We used to use Zephy, but we are switching over now to Tithely, and we're very excited about that. Other ways to support us: you can also donate through check or cashier's check, or mail directly to our address here in Las Vegas, which is listed on our website. And make sure that you follow us on YouTube, TikTok, and all of our socials so that you can get updates for our services, which are every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. You can like, subscribe, share, follow, and please comment and share. We really appreciate that. And you're welcome to submit prayers online as well. We will get back with you as soon as we can. And coming soon, we will have more information about ceremonies and consultations. And you can also get your free account at universalrainbowfaith.org, become a member, sign up for regular ongoing contributions, and get a membership certificate, and get your sacred name and gender pronoun certificate, and also letters for religious accommodation and protection, which is one of our main services that we offer to protect all of our members from religious persecution and from discrimination by being a member of the Universal Rainbow Faith. And those are our announcements for this week. Thank you for letting me share those. And this week we continue to reflect on honoring St. Lucy Hicks Anderson, the golden flame of integrity. And we have her listed on our website along with all of our other saints and divine guardians. You can take a look at that under our teachings tabs and saints. And so we have a short reflection on her legacy, her trans dignity, and sacred resistance, especially in the time that we are seeing now and what recently we have seen happen within our government. And our affirmation: like Lucy, I live my truth, I honor my journey, and I claim my joy. Let's say that one more time. Like Lucy, I live my truth, I honor my journey, and I claim my joy. And this past week, we did have a Juneteenth, which is we're focusing on remembrance and spirit and our spirituality of this day. And just know that Juneteenth was not only about the past, that it's a mirror of the present. And we remember the delayed freedom of our ancestors and commit to no longer delaying justice for Black, for queer, for trans lives, and that we will not wait to be free because we live free now. And with much of what we've seen with many observances and recognized months and days just being completely erased and eliminated, no matter what happens at the level of the federal government or within those agencies, we as a community can still come together, and we will, and we are, to celebrate all that is meaningful to us. And is the glue that holds society together and communities together in pride and awareness and inclusivity. And an affirmation for our Juneteenth. I am part of the unfolding of freedom. My joy is an act of resistance. I am a part of the unfolding of freedom. My joy is an act of resistance, and so it is. And our quote from The Nature of Miracles, our special reading this week, is, "Let joy be your resistance and celebration your sanctuary." And this is page 70. Let's see if this is lining up. And our affirmation is, I am aligned with the miracle of joy and the power of my inner truth. I am aligned with the miracle of joy and the power of my inner truth, and so it is. Our spiritual message this week is Radiance in Resistance and the Joy of Living Free. And we're going to be exploring the joy of being fully ourselves, and that is sacred. Black, trans, and queer joy as revolutionary. We continue to honor the legacy of Lucy Hicks Anderson and the ancestors of Juneteenth. And living out loud as spiritual resistance. And finally, celebration as a sacred practice. So what happens when joy becomes our declaration of freedom? How do we honor the resilience of our ancestors, not just by surviving, but by celebrating? This week we begin our new series, The Prayer, the Prophecy, and the Power. We begin with joy, because joy is an act of prophecy. It declares that we are still here, still thriving, still sacred. During Pride Month and in remembrance of Juneteenth, this joy is our resistance, our remembrance, and our rising. So let joy be your resistance and celebration, your sanctuary today. These words aren't just a mantra, they are a call to action. Joy isn't something we wait for, it's something we choose. Even in struggle, even in sorrow, but especially in the moments we are told we don't belong, as we are seeing now throughout the country and throughout the world. So I say to you, let joy, not only this month, but every month and every day, 365 days a year, let joy be your resistance, let it be my resistance, and let it be our resistance. And celebration, yours, mine, and our sanctuary. Just like the sanctuary we've created here, this beautiful virtual space where it is safe and we are empowering you, we are empowering ourselves, we are empowering our community and allies to rise above. So we often think of resistance as anger, protest, or pain, and those are sacred. But there is another path. I ask you to consider the path of radiant defiance, the path where you show up fully alive, when systems of oppression that we're seeing now try to erase us. That joy is the ink that we will use to rewrite the story and to keep the story alive for generations to come. St. Lucy Hicks Anderson, she didn't survive just by hiding. She thrived by insisting on the truth of who she was back in the 1940s, just like we are doing now in 2025. And in so doing, she gave the world a glimpse of divine courage. And I charge you with that task to embrace this divine courage within yourself and to ignite this within others. As queer and trans people and our allies and spiritual seekers, we are invited to become the sanctuary that we've always needed. What if your joy was your sanctuary? What if your presence in all its color, beauty, and truth was the healing this world needed most? So my suggestion for you is this month, if you're able to, visit Stonewall or another historic LGBTQ place and notice how you felt walking in the footsteps of joy and resistance that came before you and that is happening now. Or you can take the time to dance and sing and remember a time when you did. Maybe it was at Pride or a service or even just being alone at home, and how important that moment became a kind of prayer. Or maybe the first time as a child or a young person told you they saw themselves in you, and how joy became intergenerational healing at that moment. So I want you to think about those things for yourself this month. And for myself, what this brings to mind is I've never been to Stonewall before, but I have traveled all around the country. And in several years ago, I was visiting Atlanta, and I got to go to the Martin Luther King Park and to visit his home where he was born and raised, and also to visit the memorial where there was Gandhi was there, and all of the civil rights and all of these things, and see some of these original homes that were, of that time. And it was really a moving experience. And I remember filling out a card and making this promise about really protecting and uplifting and being part of a solution to ending, racism and hatred and bigotry and all of these terrible things and violence against others. And there is this embracing of nonviolence, and I do believe there are two principles by Gandhi, and that I practice, and that also in Dr. Martin Luther King's office, there was a photo of Gandhi, and how that influenced the civil rights movement and influenced him. And there's something called satyagraha and ahimsa. And one of these principles is the principle of unconditional love, and the other is teaching your opponent humility through your own self-suffering. This is the way that Gandhi overthrew the British government. And that is actually on my personal Facebook page, Satyagraha and Ahimsa, these principles. And that was really empowering for me at the time. And I took that little card home and I placed it on my fridge. It's been there for years, because it's something I truly do believe in. I believe in nonviolence and as resistance and as protest, and that through our own suffering, which our community has suffered greatly over, not only in this generation, but over many generations. And we've seen such terrible, terrible injustices and such violence against us. And, what can we do to overcome that and to be that change we desire to see in the world? Through prayer, through meditation, through showing up in inclusive spiritual community spaces like this, whether virtual or in person, by making a commitment and a dedication to nonviolence, to peace, to seeking out a spiritual answer to the problems that we're seeing now in the world. And that is one of the greatest gifts that we have, and that is our greatest strength that we have, our greatest strength as a community as a whole, not only for LGBTQ and allies, but all spiritual seekers seeking to be a healing force in this world. Spiritual power transcends and is first in place before physical actions take place. And so by focusing on our prayer and meditation, we're bringing hope into our lives and giving it to others. We're actually affecting real change within the physical world, because first it starts as a thought and then prayer, and we're focusing our energy on that, and whatever it is that we are giving attention to, that is what's growing. So if we are angry and we are hurt and we continue on that path and we don't change our thinking, then we continue to experience more hurt and pain and suffering. But as we recognize what's not right and what's broken in others, even in ourselves and our own way of thinking, our own wrong thinking, and we begin to make that switch, we turn on the power of love. We begin to offer forgiveness to those who are not quite there yet, not where we're at. And with that, the healing begins to happen. The healing begins to unfold. And it is changing cellularly within our own being, our own physical body. Things are happening that we can't see. There's an amazing power and resurrection that's within ourselves by igniting that spiritual force. And love, and unconditional love, is the greatest power that we have to help heal those who oppose us and who have caused such violence and death to our community for generations. And so if you are in that space, I invite you to make the change from anger and unforgiveness, no matter how difficult it is, because it is very difficult. And by forgiving others, we don't justify their behavior, and it's not permission for them to continue to do it. But we're making a way for the divine to come in and facilitate a healing of which we could have never even dreamed of on our own or been able to do on our own. And so I pose to you these questions to take with you and think about them. Where is it, or when have you been told that joy was inappropriate, unsafe, or too much? Think about a time when you were told just being yourself, which brings you joy, which should bring you joy, which brings all of us joy, to be ourselves and to be authentic and to not have shame and guilt over that, but to celebrate it. Who or when were you told that that was inappropriate, unsafe, or just too much? For me, I can remember early on it was the church, in which I grew up in, evangelical Christianity, born again Christianity. And I was told between about 12 and 14 that gay people, or, we didn't have the word LGBTQ then, but gay or lesbian people, that there was sin, that was a sin, that was abomination, and that, I was going to go to hell, or people go to hell for being that way. And for me, that robbed me of my joy at that moment and produced shame and guilt. And I didn't fully believe it or embrace it, thank goodness. And for just a moment, we're getting a message on TikTok. Let me see what that is. Okay, we have to click a button there on TikTok. And so that took away my joy at that moment, but I didn't fully believe it. And so thank goodness that someone came into my life, a good friend, and just loved me as I was unconditionally. And that was, I believe, the divine, that was God, that was sending an angel to me to help me, to lift me out of that so that I didn't have to go deep into a depression, any more than I was between 12 and 14. So when was that for you? Who told you that? Who told you that your joy was inappropriate, the joy of being yourself, or that it was unsafe, or that you were too much? And now we ask, how can I reclaim joy as a sacred, public, and healing act? How can we do that? How can I reclaim joy as a sacred, public, and healing act? For me, I'm reclaiming my joy right here in this moment with you, with all of you, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on those who will see this later, with those who will see this later, that this is my act of reclaiming my joy, that I get to be here and to share with you. And this is sacred, and this is public. And what is the healing? The healing is coming from honoring ourselves, to thine own self be true, to reclaiming that which is within ourselves, no matter who you are. And to do that knowing that you have the full acceptance and love of a loving higher power that wants you to be only yourself, and to bring the most unique and beautiful and intimate gifts that you have to share with this world. And nobody has a right to take that away, and nobody will. And so, finally, what might change in your life if you allowed your joy to be as loud as your pain? What might change in your life if you allowed your joy to be as loud as your pain? And for me, when I made that change, when I began my transition at 19, although from 14 to 19, I thought I was gay because I liked boys or men, and I really didn't understand who I was. But at 19, I came to know about that I was transgendered, and I made my change almost overnight, and that was it. And that began, for me, allowed joy into my life. And from the pain that was before, I had to go through some therapy. I later became sober through 12-step recovery at 26, but there were several years of pain, anxiety, depression, confusion, all of these things, all from others in the world imposing their beliefs upon me and people like me. And I had to work through all of that. And it is something that can be done. So if you're out there and you are struggling with your identity, or having any shame or guilt from religious abuse growing up and being told that you're some kind of sin or abomination, just know that none of that is true. That you are a beautiful and equally valued and loved creation of the divine as everyone else. No matter what your name is, how you express yourself, how you express your gender, what your gender is, who you love, that what you wear, whether you wear makeup or no makeup, or boys' clothes or girls' clothes, or you're feminine or you're masculine, none of that matters, because your soul is ever present, it is ever growing, it is ever beautiful, and it is connected with a source that wants you to thrive and flourish in this life. And we cannot let ourselves be overcome by the ignorance of others, the bigotry, the hypocrisy. To thine own self be true. And this month we stand in that truth, and we stand with that, and we make that our joy, so that we can live free in the here and the now, in this moment. You are free. Nobody can hold you back. And I invite you to continue to live free, to express yourself, and have courage and faith. And as millions of us around the world will confirm that God loves us too, and that we are special and we are sacred and valued just as everyone. And there is no government that can take that away. There is no group, there is no church, there is no law that can erase that or take that away. We will not let that happen. So just know that your joy right now is your resistance. Your laughter is sacred. Your love is a prophecy. And let no one silence the music of your beautiful soul. And with that closes out our spiritual message. And we are going to take that into meditation. And so just close your eyes and let the noise of the world begin to fade. Take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly exhale. And now feel the ground beneath you steady and strong. Know that you are safe, you are held, and you are sacred. Now imagine a warm, golden light glowing in the center of your chest. This is your inner light, your truth, your joy, your freedom. It is not fire that burns, it is the light of your truth. This light has survived storms, it has withstood rejection, it has risen through generations. As you breathe, this golden flame begins to expand. It moves through your arms, your legs, your voice, and your total presence. It is the sacred flame of freedom, of queer joy, of Black liberation, of living out loud in a world that once asked and demanded your silence. When you honor the truth inside of you, a miracle begins. A door opens, and the path that once felt blocked becomes the place where grace flows freely. So let those words fill you now. If you've been afraid to shine, if your truth has felt too heavy, if joy has seemed out of reach, let all of that melt away in this light right now. Let your breath remind you, you are not here to hide. You are here to rise. Your joy is not weakness. It is your sacred resistance. So breathe again slowly, inhale, and feel the warmth of your flame. Feel it light the world around you. You are a miracle. You are the joy. You are the light. Affirmation. I rise in joy. I live in truth. I am the sacred flame. As we take that in deeper, I rise in joy. I live in truth. I am the sacred flame. And feel that from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, completely radiating every cell in your body. As you begin to feel the room and the space around you coming back to this place in time. Feeling renewed and full of radiance, and that this radiance is your resistance. So, and just take that in as we enjoy this week's selected song, Sacred Flame Rising.
The chains are gone, the path is clear. I walk in truth, I shed my fear. From hidden corners of the past, I rise in love that's built to last. I'm rising in the light, I'm shining in the flame. No shame can dim this sacred name. My joy is justice, bold and bright. I live in truth, I rise in light. Every storm, my roots held strong. My soul has known it all along. That joy's not weakness, it's my might. And every tear becomes my flight. So let them try to silence me. I'll sing with holy clarity. The light within cannot be caged. I am divine, I won't be swayed. I'm rising in the light, I'm shining in the flame. No shame can dim this sacred name. My joy is justice, bold and bright. I live in truth, I rise in light. My joy is justice, bold and bright. I live in truth, I rise in light.
And that was our special song selection, Sacred Flame Rising, which you can hear on YouTube on our Sacred Music collection. We're so happy to share all of these original and beautiful songs with you. And just take that in today, that sacred flame rising within you, and nobody can take that away. And so we have time for our tithing and offering. Just know that our celebration and community continue because of your support. And we thank you for giving. You can give at universalrainbowfaith.org. You can send check, cashier's check, or money order to our Las Vegas address. And you can also use the donate tabs right on the home page of our website. And we thank you for that so that we can continue this virtual service every week, and also look forward to our new location and our building expansion fund, which is all listed on our website. And so our affirmation, as you contemplate your giving to this important work and to this church: I give from joy, and joy returns to me. I give from joy, and joy returns to me. And our final affirmation for today is: my life is sacred, my truth is divine, my joy is resistance. My life is sacred, my truth is divine, my joy is resistance. So go forth in light and pride and peace, my friends. Carry your radiance into the world today, tomorrow, and every day. And stick around afterwards. We do have our Q&A. We have our Meet the Minister, and we'll be live online. I will be able to see your messages and respond to you. And let's finish with our final song, Embrace Togetherness, which also, once again, is on YouTube. You can hear all of our music, and please like and share and subscribe and get the word out about that.
In every color we unite, Together we shine, bring the light through stormy weather, through the pain. With open hearts, we'll break the chains. It's you and me, we'll stand so tall in the rainbow's embrace. We'll never fall. Hand in hand, we'll share those dreams, a tapestry of love woven at the seams. With every hue of voice is strong, together as one, where we all belong. It's you and me, we'll rise above in the rainbow's embrace. We'll spread our love in every corner of the earth. We sing a symphony of hope that unity brings. With every color, let our love soar, together as one, forevermore.
Thank you. And with every color, we let our love soar, together as one, forevermore. So thank you and bless you. Thank you for joining us this week for our service. Please mark your calendars for next Sunday. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you. And I thank you for your support for this very important work that we're doing for our LGBTQ community, especially our transgender family and our allies who support us and want to see our communities live and thrive and become heal and hold as we claim our rightful place, not only here in Las Vegas and the United States, but around the world and into the farthest reaches of the universe. And I'll see you next week. Thank you. And now we have our minister meet and greet. I'm so happy to be with all of you. Right now we're going to turn our Facebook camera around. Give us just a moment to change the orientation. And yes, there we are. And we'll be able to communicate together for a few minutes. So welcome, my friends, and hello on TikTok. I hope you enjoyed today's service. It was really great. We're covering amazing topics. So does anyone have any questions? Let's see. We'll see on our YouTube. I do see some TikTok viewers there. We do see our Facebook as well. Thank you, and thank you for being here. Welcome, Steve. Welcome, Melinda and Michelle. And welcome to everyone on TikTok as well. I'm not sure if I'm able to respond to anything on TikTok. I'm looking for any messages, but soon we'll get that where it may become much more interactive at the end of the service. I just have to do a little more research on that so that we can maybe have some live Q&A as well. Well, hopefully everyone was able to see everything and tune in. There was a question here from Steve. He asked, he wondered why it wasn't starting, but we did start about 5:34, so hopefully everyone was able to see that. We'll know more when we end the live stream and post. But this week I was really blessed and grateful to be able to share a story at Unity Church. And this was yesterday on Sunday, and they have something called Love Moments about love's transformative power and that process. And I was sharing a story with Lisa Lee, the spiritual leader there, some weeks back, and she said, "Oh, that's a great story. Maybe you could share that for our love moment." And once a month, they have members of the community come up and share some story, a transformational story. So this particular story I shared, it was from 2011, something that happened. And the title of the story is A Pansy Thief, an Angel, and a Miracle. And just to share with you the power and the presence of the divine, not only in, of course, we expect to maybe see that and experience that with, you think of priests and nuns and monks and these spiritual gurus and people. Mother Teresa of the world, the Mother Teresas of the world, and the Gandhis and different kind of gurus and people that we expect them to have some kind of special connection with the divine or with God or whatever it is, whether they're Buddhist or they're Christian, and with Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or somebody. But truly, I say to you that none of us are out of reach of miracles. And in my book, The Nature of Miracles, this is volume 1, which has been published on Amazon. I wrote after 9/11. And I'm working on volume 2, which is real life miracle stories and how they happen to everyday people and how to know them. And the short 2-minute version, 3-minute version I shared on Sunday there's a full story of that, the full details in my upcoming book. This one here that I wrote after 9/11, it is still relevant and valid today because this is a book on healing through the journaling process and using prayers, affirmations, meditations, and channeled writing to get in touch with your higher power, with a deeper faith and with a loving presence that is going to be there for you, and to be a witness to the manifestation and the presence of miracles in your life, something beyond what is human, what is available to us in our own power. And I have about 100 plus short stories that are in this upcoming volume. And so the story that I shared, I want to share this with you, especially to those people out there. There are people in various religions, especially evangelical Christianity, in this movement that's happening right now called the New Apostolic Reformation, and how they will look at somebody like myself or LGBTQ people in general, and claim to be Christian when really telling people that they are sinners and they're abominations and they're going to go to hell, and that God does not love them, and so I want to share with you that is completely a fallacy and not true, because if it were true, then someone like myself could not experience the presence and the power and the magnificence of a beautiful and loving higher power that would literally manifest miracles in my life, and to share with me the presence of what I believe to be angels and messengers come to help not only in my time of need, but to assist me in helping others in their time of need. In that means that if I'm able to experience that, then this loving power loves and accepts someone like me unconditionally. And it's not an experience to have had to say, oh, well, since that happened to you, well, you should, convert to, evangelical Christianity or to, Judaism or to Buddhism or whatever. It has nothing to do with any kind of conversion. Miracles are universal. They go beyond all religion and faith. They live in a place where it is accessible to all. It is something that is a beautiful and magnificent and synchronistic moment that almost is impossible to explain when we're looking at sometimes what is impossible odds even of happening, although it doesn't have to manifest and be, burning bush in some big way. It can also be something very small. And I share a series of stories in volume 2 just about that. Everything from literally kind of a burning bush to something very small, like maybe finding a feather or a lucky penny. And so it was in 2011 that the flowers in front of my salon kept being stolen, and I would come to work, and there would be dirt on the ground, and I think I may have shared the story recently, but I guess it's come up again. And the dirt would be on the ground, and my flowers would be gone. These little pansies in flower boxes outside the salon, and my newspaper. These things are not very expensive, just a few dollars. And so I was really upset, and this went on for a few weeks. And so I finally, I prayed about it. I wrote a special blessing and a prayer, which I'm going to be posting to the universalrainbowfaith.org site. I used all of the spiritual tools I could use from numerology, and in this blessing, I put my numbers of 11, 22, and 33. I put a beautiful blue butterfly and a dragonfly. There was Archangel Michael was in there. All these different kind of spiritual symbols and things for protection. And so I did all of that, and then within a very short time, and I posted that I think in the front window. In a very short time, I came to work after one of my 12-step meetings, and my sponsee Stacia was with me. And the flowers were gone again, and the newspaper was gone. It was on a Sunday. And I came inside, and I looked through the footage of the PC camera I'd set up that was just facing the window with the blinds open. And there she was. There was this woman, reddish hair, older. She walked up to the planters, and she looked, kind of left. She looked to the right. She had a little plastic shopping bag, and she just kind of takes the flowers, and she's kind of putting it in there. 4:30 in the morning, and goes to the newspaper. She gets that. She takes it. She goes over to the trash can, and she looks through the trash can. I was like, why is she looking through the trash can? And anyways, then gets into a white van with no windows, silver rims, an older van, drives away. I turned to Stacia and I said, I have a feeling I'm going to find this woman. Would you mind coming with me? So we get in the car. We drive out of Commercial Center. We go to Heron Avenue. We turn right. I go down a block or two. I make the first right. I park on the right-hand side of the street. I look left and right. I get out of the car. I walk to the left, past the building into the alleyway, and I turn to the right. And what do you think I saw? I saw the white van from the video. I'd never been there before. I'd never been down that street, never been to those apartments. I knew nothing about that particular area right there. Nor did I know these people in the video. And I looked, and I was like, oh, wow. And then something led me a little further. I walked down past a few more cars, and I walked right, turned right into a courtyard, into this 2-story courtyard, older building, those areas from like the 60s. I looked around. I went to the right and right up the stairs. When I got to the top of the stairs, what do you think I saw on the landing? There were several potted flowers, beautiful little pansies. They were my pansies. And so I have a really intimate and close, connection with nature. I love nature. It's where I get a lot of inspiration. I love gardening. And these were like my little babies. They were literally calling me, I think. And so there they were. And I just saw them. There were 2 apartments, one door here on the left and one door in front. And in one window, I saw that the mini blinds were open. There was all of these odds and ends stacked up in this apartment. Strange things. Well, in our business community, that past several months and year, many things have gone missing. And the first thing that came to mind is, this is where all the boosted stuff is. And so I knocked on the door, and a young man answered, and then an older woman came to the door. And I explained to her, said, hi, I'm Paula, I'm from Harmony, and someone has been stealing my flowers and my newspapers, and I was wondering if you could look at a video and some photos. I had taken some photos and a video on my phone from the PC camera, from the computer, just to have with me. And so I showed her, and right away she said, that's my daughter Deborah, and she'll be back later on. I said, okay. I said, thank you. I said, yeah, I think these flowers are mine here. And I didn't take them or anything like that. So I left and I came back later on. It was about 8:30 at night. It was very dark. There was no lights in the courtyard. And I began walking up the stairs and I sensed someone was behind me. So I turned around and there she was, the woman from the video. Long reddish hair, maybe in her early 50s. A little bit of her face was kind of sallow and drawn, and she was very quiet. And she was, I almost, couldn't hear anybody behind me. But so I turned around and we stood there in the stairwell. I introduced myself. I told her the situation, what had been happening, that someone was stealing my flowers and my newspaper, and would she mind taking a look at this video and photos? And she said, okay. So I showed her and I said, do you know who that is? And she said, no. And I said, well, could you look again? And she looked and she said she didn't know who it was. And then I told her, I said, well, I said, it kind of looks like you. Are you sure it's not you? And she looked again and she says, no. And I said, are you sure? And then she finally said yes, that it was her. And so I told her that I had actually been to the police and spoke with them, and because of the amount of the damages, if it's over $500, it's considered a felony. I said, well, this is a felony, and I have you on camera. I have this vehicle, which I found out was her husband was driving, and it was their van, and of course all the stuff I saw earlier in their apartment. And anyway, so we sat there for a moment and we were talking, and she was very quiet, and she was very peaceful, and that was kind of strange given the situation. And then I told her, I said, Deborah, I said, do you know how I found you? And she said, no. And I said, I saw your face on a video screen, and I was at your door in 10 minutes, and I've never been here before. And her eyes got really big. And at that moment, something happened. There was like a bubble of light around us, and any noise that there was completely gone. It was just her and I, literally in a moment of time. There was complete peace. There was total silence outside of us, and it was pitch black outside of just what I could see as she was standing on the stairwell with me. And I had had experiences like this before, and divine interventions and experiences with angels and miracles. And I've been sober many years at this point now, at that time about 9 years. So I felt a little anxiety because there was an energy there, and there was something spiritual that was happening. And I had already done a lot of prayer work, and I prayed for forgiveness and to bless everyone who came to my garden and to my place. In that prayer and blessing that I wrote. And I said to her, I said, do you believe in God? And she said, yes. And I said, well, we're not alone right now. And her eyes got even bigger, and she was already pale, but I think she was a little more pale at that moment. And I could sense that there was angels all around us, this beautiful, loving presence, and that God was in this moment. And I told her, I said, I've been sent here to help you. I told her I was sober for many years, and if she had a problem, I would be happy to help her and take her to a meeting. And I sensed that there was something going on. Maybe it was alcohol, maybe it was drugs, maybe there was mental, health challenges. And, especially with someone just kind of going through the trash. And it was the way that she moved and stuff. And she was just kind of calm and peaceful. And she did promise. I told her she needed to promise, that she wasn't going to steal my newspaper and flowers anymore. And she agreed to that. And she says, but can I go through your trash? And I said, no, that's my trash. And I said, if it continues, I'll have to go to the police. And then I hugged her and we went on our way. And in that moment, that kind of light that was around us, this kind of bubble of light and this peace and the silence, it just kind of faded away. And it was almost like someone turned the lights back on. And I could now sense the courtyard and the apartment and everything around us. It came back. and the presence that was there, they had kind of moved on. So she left. I went back a week later, and I brought with me a newspaper, some fresh flowers from the store, a butterfly wind chime, a big book with my name and number on it, and a card offering to bring her to a meeting if she wanted it and to be there to help her if she needed anything at all. And I knocked on the door, and the mother answered and asked if Deborah was there, and she said, no, Deborah, is gone. And when I looked to the apartment to the left, the blinds that were there, they were open, and everything was gone. The complete apartment was empty, this other adjoining apartment. And she said she hadn't seen Deborah for a few days. So I gave her the gifts. And I said, well, if you see her, so please give her this. I never saw or heard from Deborah again. And when I left there, I had to wonder who was helping who. For me, I had a choice to make. Was I going to respond in anger and hatred and bring the police into this at that moment and, want vengeance and all of these things, and to be, take my flowers? Or was I going to respond in love? And I truly believe that had I not done the spiritual work, the prayer, the blessing, the affirmations, the meditation beforehand, and offer that forgiveness and bring that power of the divine in and that light, that moment could have not been made possible. I would have not been able to experience that, nor would Deborah. And to this day, I have to ask myself, who was helping who? A pansy thief, an angel, and a miracle. And just a moment, I have to click on the TikTok here. One moment. Let's go ahead and, okay, I had to make a adjustment on TikTok. And so, yeah, that's what I came away with. And who was helping who there? And I still don't know to this day who or what she was. Maybe she was the angel there sent to help me, to teach me a lesson in forgiveness. So I want to end with that today, and I thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you each and every week on Sundays at 5:30. I'll learn more how to operate TikTok and maybe invite some of our viewers in as a live guest to answer any questions. I did try that last week, but the button didn't work. So let me see if we can try that again this week. Let's see. No, for some reason, it's not allowing me to click on the button to invite anyone as a guest. So I'll have to do, oh, I see. Wait, I see that it says invitation sent. Okay, the TikTok is very new for me, so I'm just learning about that. But I do want to make this more of an interactive experience, our Meet the Minister time. So I tell you that story to show you and to prove the demonstration and the power of the divine in LGBTQ lives. That is real. It is true. It actually happened that way. And for me, I'm grateful that I had that kind of experience. For me, I've needed those kind of experiences to really open me up to God, to the divine, to whatever you want to call that loving presence. And that is not out of touch for a trans person or for anybody. And so, to all of those people who say terrible things about LGBTQ people, and you have all of these people of religion that claim to be Christian or other things, and they say all these terrible things. Oh, well, that's fake, and oh, you need Jesus, and you need to be saved, and you need to go to church, and on and on. You tell me, what did that moment represent? Was that God working in both of our lives at that moment, in Deborah's life and in my life? Certainly couldn't have been some kind of evil force. There was nothing but love there. And that was a moment, an incredible moment of a miraculous healing, I believe, for her and for me. And so we are not out of touch with the divine. God is within. And we can call that forth into our lives and begin being a part of that healing once we have received that for ourselves, for others and to begin to have these kind of experiences. Now, you may have had some of these kind of experiences for yourself, bigger or smaller. Now, that is just one story out of nearly 100. Some are quite powerful and quite impactful. Some are really, really just tiny and really small and seemingly almost like they seem insignificant, but nonetheless a miracle. So I thank you for joining in and letting me share that story with you. And I look forward to sharing that and many more in my upcoming Volume 2, The Nature of Miracles. And I thank you, TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, for joining in. I hope that you have taken away something that can be useful today and that you continue to join us every week. So namaste and blessings to you, and we'll see you next week.